man, this is really living.
We're committed to the art and nothing can stop us. Not even a train, plane, tractor, all of us as we feel the rhythm inside the marrow of our bones.
Hey guys, Blue Kool-Aid here. I'm going to go over a couple things with you, and then I'm going to end by showing you guys some of the updated graphs of what's been going on here. It's getting to the point now where we're seeing disruptions like constantly right now. So I may do this for a week or so just to, give you guys kind of like a daily update of what's going on as far as being able to look at the graphs. I don't want to show you guys those graphs day after day after day and sit there and, try to pinpoint everything. If I see something interesting, obviously I'll bring it to you. But I know that this isn't going to stop right away, okay? It's just going to keep right on going, guys. These disruptions we're seeing, the signatures are not going back to normal, and I don't think they're going to for some time. Given all the stuff that we've been talking about, we're probably talking about months here, guys. Now, like I said, if I see something interesting, and I will look at these models every day, I will bring it to you guys and show you, hey, this was really interesting. This happened, whatever. But as far as showing you the magnetopause models, I don't want that to get old for you guys either, because I know it could probably get kind of boring seeing those things over and over and every video. Okay, so what I'm going to do is at the end of this one, I put together just a little, like a 4-minute section here, showing you guys some of the different magnetopause models and some space weather stuff there, and I got some music to it. So, but anyway, I'm going to talk about electron flux right here. I've been trying to figure out. Obviously I talked to Scott a lot, and he helps me with this. And, he really gave me some good schooling here on this one, because this is something I didn't completely understand until he started, throwing some definitions, and I started digging into it myself, which I suggest all of you guys do also. Just dig into it for yourself. You got to. You can listen to us say it and all that, but you're really going to retain it a lot more if you go and you see it for yourself. And I know it's hard. So most people don't have time to do too much of that stuff. Obviously, I don't either. Most of us don't, but just reading this little bit right here, I think most of us can make time to read a couple paragraphs. If that's all you do every day, at least you're moving forward, I guess is what I'm saying. So, anyway, why are we talking about electron flux? Well, I'm going to give you the definition of it first real quick. This is at the NOAA site, okay? This come right off of their site, all right? Electron flux, measured by the GOES satellite, indicates, okay, basically it shows the intensity of the outer electron radiation belt, okay? It's detecting our outermost radiation belt. And it's telling you how intense that radiation is right there at that point. Okay? That's what it's doing. That's what they're going to show you here on their graphs. When they say electron flux, that's what it means. At least here at the NOAA site. And, even the colleges, they get their data from the GOES satellite. Okay? Now, the GOES satellite is in what they call geosynchronous orbit, okay? What that means is that it is orbiting the Earth at the same speed that the Earth is rotating. So, in other words, it looks stationary to us. If we go outside, say you went outside right now, and you looked up, and you could physically see the GOES satellite with your eyes. Okay, if you say you did that at 10 o'clock in the morning, well, you go back out at 10 o'clock at night and you look up, it's going to be in the same exact spot. Okay, because it's staying with the Earth rotating, plus it's orbiting obviously around the sun. It is that's where it gets its readings from. That's where it stays. Okay, And that's important to understand because sometimes these spikes or these, abnormal readings we get sometimes, they can be affected by being either on the dark or the light side of the Earth. Okay? Now, what I'm getting ready to show you, it'll kind of help explain that here in just a second. But why am I even worried about this? Okay? Why are we even talking about this, right? What does electron flux have to do with the price of tea in China, right? I mean, so anyway, the reason why is because we talk about this 28-day orbit, right? Well, this electron flux is basically saying that this stuff that we're seeing is not coming from the sun. Now, if this spiked along with the rest of this stuff went abnormal at the same time, that's different. Okay? That's what you would expect. If we got hit with solar wind, some sort of solar disturbance, some sort of energy coming from there, this thing will pick up energized particles. That's what it does. It can tell the difference between kinds of particles, but it cannot tell you the source of it. All right? Now, why does that matter? Well, you got to think of it like this, and this is the example Scott used, and I thought it was awesome. If you open up a coronal hole, say, or we'll just do it this way. Say you stuck a gun out your window, a buckshot gun, right? You pull back the curtains, right? That's what the sun does. It pulls back its atmosphere. It sticks a gun out, which is the solar wind, and it fires. Right? What happens with buckshot? Okay, anybody that doesn't know guns, there's a difference between buckshot and a bullet. A bullet's a single projectile. Buckshot is a bunch of granular, basically rocks, I guess if you want to call them that. They're not really rocks nowadays, but they used to use rocks. But the reason why they did that is it's spread out. Okay, when you fire buckshot, it spreads. It has a spread. In other words, it'll hit a lot more stuff, but it's not as precise. Okay, that's exactly what the solar wind does. That's what the sun does when a coronal hole opens up. It's basically firing buckshots of highly charged particles out into space, and this is important, out into all directions. Okay? So that makes it very difficult unless you see a coronal hole, or unless you see a CME, a solar flare, any of that kind of stuff, to say exactly where this energy came from. Okay? So we talk about the 28-day orbit and how this Planet X object is interacting with our sun. Well, it's close enough to the sun that if we were getting disturbances, say, from it and its reaction with the sun, it would act as if, these tools wouldn't be able to tell you the difference. Okay? Because it's close enough. It's in the same general vicinity of the sun, same direction. Okay? Now, there's times that we see them coming from, like, underneath, or, sometimes we think it comes from behind, and that does happen once in a while, but if it comes from behind, most of the time, that's probably going to be chalked up to cosmic rays. And that happens too. It does. All right? And I know there's a whole lot of theories of what happens behind us and all those things. And I respect you guys with those theories because, it is what it is. Everybody has their opinions. Everybody has their theories and research it out, just like everybody else is doing. Research it out and show us some stuff and let's go down that road. All right. Now, when we talk about this 28-day orbit and electron flux, well, this is pretty much showing you that this did not come from the sun. Because if it came from the sun, all this other stuff would be jumping all around too. Okay, we would be seeing disruptions in more than just one spot. Okay, look at this. I mean, the geomagnetic storm level, the KP level here, nothing. I mean, that's not even active. It's just not. I mean, we were seeing solar winds yesterday, guys, at least according to the tools, that were below 300. That's low. I mean, that's low, and that can be bad too. You know, if this KP index, you know, people freak out when it gets up into the yellow and red. Well, you know, it's a little bit more scary to me is when it stays on 0 for multiple days or hours. That's bad too. Okay? It can be just as bad. Now, something else, guys, you know, if we see like a flare, this what I'm trying to explain to you here is that, like, when the sun has a flare, it's basically, it's light. Okay? It's very energized light coming right at us, right? It's moving at the speed of light. Okay? I'm not sure if everybody knows. I'm sure some of us know here, but some might not know. It takes the light from the sun 8 minutes to reach Earth. It's moving at the speed of light. All right, so it takes time, even light, to reach us. So that's why when we see a coronal hole, it takes it between 3, 4, sometimes 5 days for it to get here. Because it's not light. All right? It's different. It's highly charged particles. It's not even visible to our eyes. You know, we're talking about X-ray flux right up here. X-ray, they look for that. The ghost satellites are looking at all this stuff. All right? It can detect the difference between this stuff, but it cannot tell you the source. So what I'm saying is, like, when we see this right here is a good example. Okay, this is the ACE. And I show you guys this a lot. All right, this is over at Space Weather. Now, I want you guys to notice this right here. You know what that is? You see that blank right there? That's the satellite orbiting with the Earth in that geosynchronous orbit that I just explained, coming around to the dark side. All right? So when that satellite, when the Earth is in between the satellite and the sun, it can't get any readings. That's why the ACE always misses some data right here, because it's not going to receive it. All right, now if we see data right there when it's dark like that, where it's supposed to be missing, then you might as well just say that it came from a way different direction. Okay, and I'm not sure if that's even ever happened. I've not personally seen that happen, but I ain't saying it didn't. But like I said, there's stuff that happens every day that I miss. But yeah, I mean, so this was the past couple days electron flux. Okay, something that's important to note here is that these spikes that you're seeing right here and right here are almost exactly 24 hours apart. All right, now I'm going to say something else here too real quick. You may even see some of that on the Schumann resonance sometimes. Okay? We do see, like, sometimes we'll see a resonant signature on the Schumann resonance. It'll show up, and then 24 hours later, it'll show up at the exact same time. Well, this kind of helps explain why that happens. We can be getting, the detectors or what have you may just be able to detect it in certain time frames. All right. Now, I know that the Schumann resonance is a little bit different how it detects stuff because it's the frequency or vibration of the Earth. I don't think it's measured from space. I think it's actually measured from ground-based stuff. I think it's microwaves, I believe, bouncing off of our atmosphere in certain angles. Dr. Albers did a video on that, actually. It's been a while, so I need to go back and refresh myself on the technicalities of that. I would suggest you guys go over and watch her video on that. That's man, yeah. I mean, she shows the diagrams and she shows all that stuff. It's a good article that she did for us. But yeah, this electron flux is really what's going to differentiate between what is coming from the sun and what's not. All right. So if we see these spikes, what do? Okay. The first thing that all of us are going to do, most of us anyway, we're going to go look at the sun. All right, when we see these disruptions. So what are you seeing? I mean, we're seeing coronal holes, right? See these coronal holes? This is a current capture. Okay? And I would suggest if you guys are looking for coronal holes, look on the 211 angstrom, which is the purple over here, or the 193, which is the gold, or I think they call it bronze, which is on the left here. They tend to be able to show in better definition and better clarity where these coronal holes are. Scott's got a great technique he's using now. You guys need to go check out his latest video on this. It actually shows, the particles underneath it. He's come up with a different technique that he's using, and it looked great. I mean, it does give you a way better visual of what's actually going on. Okay? That's important because if you can visualize it, you remember it. I mean, that's just the fact, and you're just able to see it better and understand why it's doing what it's doing. Okay? So with that out of the way, I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention because, that is something that we do look at. I didn't quite understand that all the way. I may still be having some of that wrong. I'm trying to understand it more and more. I've had questions, and Scott's been trying to help me understand it. And, I think I'm starting to get a hold of that and understand exactly what's going on and how and why that can help us decide whether or not we're getting energy from the sun or not, or if it's coming from some other source. Now, this is the phi angle, okay? I'm not going to go into this one today because, I don't want to go into too much trying to explain a whole bunch of stuff to everybody at once, because I don't think people would remember it as well. I'll explain this probably in my next video, but this is important even when we're talking about coronal holes. Okay, a basic definition of this would be just the angle of the magnetic field, okay, that we get from the sun, the angle that it's coming from. You guys can read, you can pause this and read it if you want and try to research it yourself a little bit, but I will be going into some more detail about this because we do see this phi angle. You see the yellow arrow there? We see that thing jumping back and forth sometimes. And it's because I believe it's because of switching polarity from coronal holes. Basically, it's telling us when we're connected and when we're not at different times. And there's a whole lot of technicalities and stuff here that I need to go into. But I don't want to cloud a whole bunch of stuff there right now. But yeah, guys, we really got to pay attention to that. The electron flux. Okay? That's really it's going to really point out whether or not the stuff is coming from the sun, even if we can't see it with our own, if we can't see it on the sun, guys, if we don't see anything happening, we have to look to this stuff and figure out, well, where did that disruption come from? All right. And like I said, we're getting so many of them that it's not even stopping. All right, the signatures are so abnormal that they're staying abnormal and they're not coming back to normal. So, that's what I'm talking about, just showing you guys, like a daily update with some music to it or what have you. Just on the end of my videos, just so you guys can see it so I don't have to, so I can still go to do what I just did and try to show you guys something that we might be able to learn from. If I see something interesting, I definitely will bring it to you guys, though. Here's something else I'm going to talk about real quick, okay, this is city killer asteroid, barely misses Earth, surprises scientists, okay? I think most of us have heard about this already. There was a couple asteroids, guys. I'm just going to give you a basic. You guys, and I'll toggle through here. You guys can pause and read this if you want. But if some of these things would have hit land or a populated area, guys, I can't tell you how bad that would have been. Yeah. And you guys know I don't like getting on here talking about gloom and doom and all those kinds of things. But I'm not going to sit here and not be real with you either. Okay, this right here is where it gets really serious. Because when we talk about close misses, it doesn't get much more close than this, guys. Especially when we're talking about an object that that they almost didn't even see. They didn't even know it was coming until like a day before or something. Okay? Now, that should tell you how, and there was 2 of them. Okay? Like 24 hours apart. They rate these things on how, how likely they are to hit, or how likely they are to, whatever. Basically, it's like a warning level, and I think the warning level is like 1 through 9, and it was like at a 9 for both of them. Uncertainty, that's what it was. The uncertainty level. They weren't quite sure. All right, guys? I mean, man, they didn't know. And we didn't even have any kind of warning on this, okay? What good would it have done? Probably no good at all. All right, so that's why. I mean, it didn't bother me that they didn't say anything, because they didn't know right away either. So, if we're talking, this was inside a lunar distance, okay? For those of you guys that don't know what a lunar distance is, that is the distance between the Earth and the Moon. I can't remember how many miles it is. I think it's like 238,000 or something like that. It's close to that. Okay, so it was inside that distance. That doesn't mean it passed between us and the moon. It just means it was that distance. And I think one of them might have passed between us and the moon. Can't really remember. And I'm talking like way inside. 0.19 lunar distances. Okay? 1.0 is a lunar distance. 0.19 means it was 10 times, well, let's see here, 90 times closer than that, or 80 times, something like that. But anyway, yeah. I mean, so you guys can see this right here. And again, Scott did another video on this one too. And he's actually, I actually took a screenshot from his video here. But what this is it's showing, obviously, guys, you can see where the sun's at. And these are some orbits of the planets. Well, here's one of those objects. Okay, this is the OK one. Yeah, okay. 2019 OK is the actual name of what they name it. They put some numeric values on these and label them that way. The other one was OD, I think. But go watch Scott's video over there, the animation, because when these things go into animation, you really, really see how close it came. Because you can see, if you guys look, like I said, here's the object. Okay, Earth's over here right now, but as Earth is orbiting, so is this thing. So when it comes around like that, and when it crosses our orbit, it comes closer than what the moon is to us, and extremely closer. So, take that for what it's worth, guys. Now, I will say this, okay? We do have a little bit like a detection system, and it comes from this site right here. Okay, it's called Live Meteor. I'm not going to take you guys over there because a lot of us know what this is. This tool right here, I have to say, is very, very sensitive. Okay. You can research on what they're seeing here and how it's being used and all that kind of thing. It's not really seeing the meteor itself. It's actually able to see the tail, because when it gets into our atmosphere, it starts burning up. And it's able to see, I think it sees those particles. So it sees the tail. It doesn't actually see the meteor. But if this tool picks it up, it's in our atmosphere. So what I'm trying to say is, all this tool is really, there's no way we could use this for a warning system, because by the time we've seen it on this tool, it'd be way too late. Alright? That's what I'm trying to say. This tool is awesome to look at if you want to try to, I don't know, see how many meteors are coming in every day. Seeing if the one thing this would be good for is to see like a steady increase. Like maybe we move into a more populated asteroid or meteorite area of space. Maybe we're getting into like a debris field like we've talked about before from some of these objects. So, maybe that could be used as some sort of a warning system. But this thing here is not going to give you any warning for the so-called big one. Okay? But I will say that this is a very interesting tool to go look at, because it is. It's neat because it'll give you a sound. It makes these, beeping sounds and dinging like a bell, but it's really neat, and it is useful in that way. It'll give you some sort of a number of how many meteorites we're getting, but it is extremely sensitive. So when something's that sensitive, I have a hard time thinking that it's extremely accurate. Okay, because I think it's probably picking up some stuff that's really not there sometimes. Just saying. So, what was the next thing I wanted to talk about here real quick? Well, yeah, I'll take you over here, and we'll just look at this real quick, okay? This is the Enlil model, okay? Yeah, guys, we're in for some space weather. I'll just put it to you that way, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and get all crazy or anything because it's not worth it. But the wind speed is here. I've talked about this 100 times. You can see these little waves up here at the density. And what's going on is we're going to have continuous disruptions, even if we weren't getting coronal holes. This stuff is just going to keep happening because this Planet X object and objects are interacting electromagnetically with all of our electromagnetism, okay, in the whole solar system. Especially when it gets close to the sun, causes the sun to react. It causes all kinds of... all the stuff that we've been talking about. All right? It's happening. Some of this stuff is happening right now. I will take you over here. I'm going to show you guys this real quick. Okay? Now, when we're talking about coronal holes, and again, I just told you guys it takes 8 minutes for light to reach the Earth from the sun, right? Well, I showed you guys that converter of speed, correct? From kilometers per second to miles per hour. This gives us a better idea. But this is the coronal hole here that was Earth facing. Well, it still kind of is right there, but Earth facing exactly was just a little bit below the equator of the sun. Kind of like right there. Okay? So, I don't know, 12 hours ago, this coronal hole would have been right there on top of us. So, with that being said, it takes it between probably 3 to 5 days for that stuff to get here. I think they're predicting it to get here like on the 1st, maybe late in the day on the 1st, early on the 2nd. Now, they can't never tell exactly how fast these things are moving until we start seeing these particles hit our satellites, our early warning systems. Then we get a better idea of what the actual wind speed is going to be and how fast it's going to get here, or how fast it took it to get here. Okay? There's a whole other host of factors too that can affect how long it takes for that stuff to get here. It's like a weatherman trying to forecast it. It's very, very difficult. But the point here is, guys, that coronal hole was already moved off from the strike zone, from Earth's, wheelhouse, I guess we could call it. But look what's right behind it. Okay? And I would bet if we went over to stereo A, I would bet we're probably going to see some more. Now, these things can open up anytime they want. All right? Now, again, we also have to pay attention to this. Okay? You know what that is? That's a filament. Okay? When those filaments kind of open up and stuff, that's where the coronal holes come from. They don't necessarily eject. All right? If that filament was to eject, that would be called a coronal mass ejection. That's a big filament, guys. If that thing was to eject right now, yeah, we'd be bobbing and weaving. That's all I'm saying. There's other, there's other things to talk about there. But if we're talking about filaments and stuff like that, you always want to go over here to this 304 angstrom, the red one here, okay? Because you see these little areas on the out here where the corona would be. All right, it just gives you a more detailed look at what the actual plasma is in this light, in this angstrom of light, which is 304. Okay. I know there's a lot of technical stuff here in this video, throwing a lot of terms and numbers at you, and I'll re-clarify because I like to repeat those kinds of things so everybody kind of understands in further videos. But right here is that filament, okay? So if we were to see that thing flash out, and sometimes they, we've seen them do this too. You'll see them go out, and then the gravity actually will pull it back to the sun. It doesn't actually escape the sun. All right, now that's why a flare sometimes can be a lot more dangerous, because it doesn't have that hurled across. It's basically just light. All right. Now, yes, light is affected by gravity too. Okay. Especially an object as big as the sun. So, but plasma is definitely has way more mass in it, and that's why it is affected more by the gravity, and it's able to, sometimes that plasma cannot get what they call escape velocity. All right. It can't escape the gravity of the sun, so the sun just recaptures it. But anyway, guys, like I said, I'm going to show you guys some of the models and stuff here. Something I found, and again, as I'm showing you guys this, I'm just going to talk a little bit here. You can see right here, you see this opening? I'm starting to see that signature more often than I like to see it. Okay, I just got to be honest there. All right. I mean, it's pretty clear to see that we're pretty much open right there at that time. Now, this is our bow shock out here. Obviously, it's our shield, okay? It is protecting us, okay? But anything that's able to make it through that part is going to have a heck of a lot easier time getting to us if it comes this direction, okay? And that's what we've been talking about. Our electromagnetic shield is weakening. Our field's weakening. It's all weakening really, really bad. Okay? It really is. It's getting weaker every day. Even mainstream says it is. So, if they start saying it after we said it, you can pretty much, yeah. And I did see this over at Core 2 yesterday. This was on the 28th. I don't know what exactly that was. Okay. Obviously, it looks like something shooting in front of the satellite there. We can't tell how close it was to the satellite or how close it was to the sun. We just can't judge distance like that very well. And this is from Stereo A, okay? So this is the one that isn't from the view from, if you were wondering where the Earth is at, the Earth would be way over here off of the field of view here, okay? Stereo A is off, basically, if you're looking at the sun, it would be to your left. I guess you could call that your west if you wanted to say it like that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't see that over at Seeds, okay? Because Seeds only gives you a capture every half hour. If you're over here looking at Core 2 from Stereo A, you're going to get it like every 12 minutes, I think. So you'll get more captures and be able to see more things. Sorry about that, guys. My mouth was getting dry. But yeah, And something else, guys, and this is where I'll end it, and I'll show you the rest of the video. I guess what we'll do here real quick, I'll just take you guys down to my, let's go to Tool Whiz here. All right, now, I've had a lot of conversations here in the background. A lot of subscribers, talking about this, talking about that, just life in general and stuff. And, it's been asked of me a lot here lately is, why do I do this? Why do I make these videos? Why do I do any of this, right? Well, because I do think it's important. Because something is going on. All right. Now, I do it because, I love my family, number one. And I want everybody to really grab a hold of that. And this is something I don't typically talk about here on my channel because I like to keep it pretty much, more about the technical aspects and, more about the, I guess if you want to call it the science. I'm not sure how much of a scientist I am. You know, I'm getting okay with the research and stuff, but obviously I'm not educated, you know, highly educated in any kind of extra schooling or anything at all. But with that being said, you know, I do care about my family and I care about people in general. And I think it's important for us to bring ourselves back down a little bit and really focus on why we even do it at all. Okay, why do we even care? What are we gaining from it? What are we helping? Who are we helping? That kind of thing. So you got to step back and you got to listen. You got to look. Okay, and then when you do that, you start running into things that make you understand why. Okay, it'll come to you. You'll see it. It'll come right at you. You just gotta look for it. Okay, it's probably already there. You're just not looking for it. Now I know that's the case in my life a lot of times because we get so busy that we forget about what's really important. I mean, I guess if you really want to go that way with it, you know, I mean, at the basic level, I guess, yeah. I mean, you got to look around and you got to figure out what's important. And you know, for me, it's my family. Okay, that's what's important to me, and it's my loved ones. And believe it or not, guys, all you guys are important to me too, because it uplifts me a lot when I read my comment section and I hear all the great comments, and you know, even the bad ones that I get, you know, the good ones so far outweigh those bad ones. I have to say I really appreciate you guys when you guys do that in my comment section. I really do. I do try to read them all. I used to try to respond to all of them. And I do respond to a lot of them now still. You guys can go look at my comment section, and I still try to do at least the majority of them, but sometimes it just gets too much and I just simply don't have the time. It's not that I don't want to read them, because I can tell you this, I do read them all. Okay. Now, I might not have the time to sit there and type out a response or anything. And, you know, I used to go through and give hearts and likes and all that kind of stuff. Because I thought, you know, because I do still think it's important that you guys understand that you guys are really the reason why I do this. And, you know, it ain't for myself. You know, I don't monetize. You know, it's just something I don't do. I don't, you know, thrash on people that do. Okay, because obviously, yeah, I mean, at some level, yeah, I think I should monetize, but other levels, you know, I don't know that I should. So I mean, that's just me. That's my own personal preference. Okay. So I guess what I'm saying is, you know, if we step back and we look and we try to see what's important and why, you know, what if the stuff that we talk about happened tomorrow? Would those people in our lives that we say that we love know that? Okay. Like I said, I don't usually go down this, you know, I don't want to call it sappy, because it's not really sappy. It's just, you know, it is emotional. I do get emotional about it sometimes. You know, I read some of your guys' comments. I get extremely emotional because it does touch me sometimes. Okay. Most of the time. But I sit here and I look and I watch people and I do stuff. Okay. You know, I look around and I'm very observant even in my own personal life. So just make sure that you guys tell those people that you love, that you do love them, and mean it. Don't just say it. Don't make it a habit. Make it something that you're saying because you mean it. Make yourself look that person dead square in the eye and just say it and mean it when you say it. Because we all get into these habits. We really do. Hi, I love you, honey. Bye. See you when I get home from work. Did that little I love you phrase carry any weight? Because, I mean, you were probably walking out the door, right? You probably weren't. I mean, we all do this. I'm not saying that it's a horrible thing. All I'm saying is when you say it, take that extra 3 or 4 seconds. Look your wife, look your kids, look your mom, look your dad, whoever it is, in the eye. And you don't even have to say, hey, you know that I do love you. You just look at them in their eyes and they'll know. They really will. This takes a couple seconds. But that's why we even do this, because we love our families. And, we're at some level, we're just trying to protect them ourselves by having this information. So when somebody asks me why I do this, that's why. Okay? Just so you guys know. Now I'm going to show you this video here, guys. I did put some music to it. Just a little background on the music there. It was from a band called We Three. Okay, I'm not sure if any of you guys ever watched AGT or any of that kind of thing, but basically it's the song that these three siblings wrote and obviously sang about their mother, and it was from her perspective as she was dying from cancer. Now, I would really, if you listen to this song, if you watch the rest of this video, just think about that. Think about if that happened to you. Would you have said everything that you needed to everybody around you? Would you not take for granted that we have another day here? But it should also uplift you in a way that, this isn't it either. Okay? We move on. And, that's where that love is, and that's where we'll go. So, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the video and the song and all that. But yeah, obviously, guys, I know it's not my typical video, but I don't know why I felt like I needed to do this. Maybe I'm going through some stuff in my own head. I don't even know. Who knows, man? Who knows? All I know is I just felt like I needed to. So, anyway, guys, God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.